Well, good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to I'm going to I'd like to call to order the Open Space Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. That volume was throwing me off.
1 second to get the computer caught up. You can't tell me that and not have any delay.
That was a big delay.
It's still delaying. It says it's not recording. So technology was not on our side Tuesday night.
It wasn't. Well, I want to welcome our Zoom attendees as well. Are we ready?
Yeah, we'll just upload it from the YouTube recording.
Did you need me to officially No. So I can
We're
read?
having a problem with our transponder, so we're recording the meeting, and then it will be uploaded from to Granicus later. But Granicus isn't actually doing the recording themselves. So
All right. The land that Eureka rests on is known in the still wait.
closer to the mic. I want to hear your voice through the speakers.
The land that Eureka rests on is known in the Wiyot language as Jurujiji. Past actions by local, state, and federal governments removed the Wiyot and their indigenous peoples from this land and threatened to destroy their cultural practices. The city of Eureka acknowledged the Wiyot community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. This acknowledgement demonstrates the city's commitment to dismantle the ongoing legacy of settler colonialism. Can we have a roll call?
Okay. Commissioner Sims,
Here.
Commissioner Bareilles,
Here.
Commissioner Parks,
Present.
Commissioner Mays, and Commissioner Malik and Commissioner Houghton are not currently with us.
So, recommendations to approve the minutes. Are there any questions or corrections or comments from the commission on the minutes for March 28th and 2024 meeting? Hearing none, can I have, are there any public comments on Zoom or in person? All right. Well, if no public comments, then we'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
I motion to approve the minutes.
Thanks, Matt. I'll second. Thanks, Carol. And let's vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Any? I think that any dissension? Okay. And now the motion passes with our quorum. Thank you. So, commission reports. Are there any commission reports? If no reports, then we can move on to public comment. Any public comment? All right. Not today, not yet.
One day she's gonna get up there.
I agree. We got lemonade day coming up. She's got a lemonade stand. You should tell her. She should tell us. I know. Well, is there anything on Zoom? Any guests on Zoom? Okay. Thank you for letting me know. So, no public comments then. Old business. Dias Park.
Yes, hello. Thank you, everybody. So .yas actually is, oh, hey, Dennis.
Hi, Dennis. Perfect timing. We're just getting started.
Yeah.
Thanks, Robin.
So .yas has some exciting updates. We did award the bid at City Council on April 16th. And as of, I believe, yesterday, the contract has been signed by everybody, and it was a lot of signatures. So we are having a pre-construction meeting next week with the general contractor, and hopefully soon after that, they'll get the notice to proceed to mobilize. We will be looking at a groundbreaking ceremony just because the project is so special. So we'll keep you updated on a date selected for that. It'll be a community invite. Anything else, Jeff? Did I cover it?
We're super excited to get to this part of the project and getting the golden shovel out. I
Yeah.
can't wait for that. They've been in the back room for a while. So yeah.
Who's the general contractor?
They're called Builder Solutions out of the Reading area. Yeah.
And did we were going to have to maybe make some compromises? Did everything that you had envisioned kind of get bidded on and it's moving forward, or did we have to make any changes?
We didn't have to remove any major amenities. The one thing that we did lose was the California Street Plaza. We had envisioned another kind of gathering area over there, but unfortunately we did have to remove that to get the budget down. But other than that, I think we retained just about everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And there's also some contingency built into the project, so maybe we can do something that plaza on the California Street side too could be something that we add on to later. We really wanted to pay homage to the 2030 name, and we will have some interpretive signage, but we wanted to make more of a plaza that incorporated that bus stop, and the yew trees that block that view shed there will be moved, and we'll be planting lots of other trees, but you'll be able to see in there and give it a little more identity from that side of the street, because you could drive by in a second and going the speed limit and miss it.
It's true. This is true.
Well, thank you guys for your work on that. And to our commissioners, thank you for saving some time for the groundbreaking once we get
Yes.
that in our calendars.
Yes.
We'd love to be there.
Wonderful.
Florence, not regarding to Dias Park, but the park that's down closer to Fort Humboldt. I was drove by there the other day, and there's work going on. Am I allowed to ask, and are you allowed to report right now just on what's going on over there? I know they're working on that.
We
It's
do
just
have
an
that
update.
included in our reports tonight,
Oh,
and
perfect. Oh, wait.
we'll give you an update on that. That is Highland Park. Since we're in the business part of it, we should stick to that and discussion, but we will give you an update.
All right, next on old business is the change in the OSPR commission size.
Right, so at the last commission, we discussed the fact that we had gone to council with a resolution to amend our current numbers for our OSPR commission. We were one of the biggest commissions at 9 at the time. We were obviously having some struggles making quorums earlier this year, and we discussed it with admin and the city clerk, and went forward with a resolution to change the number to 7. It's all in a resolution. It was passed. Those type of resolutions need to go to a hearing, and so it had to be presented at council twice, and then that ordinance can be changed. Once that happened, then we had a 30-day waiting period, so we're now into the new era of our size of our commission. Doesn't mean it can't change again. But we really think it'll be beneficial to us. And so going from 9 to 7 gives us our quorum at 4, which we pretty regularly have. We were missing by 1 usually. And so it's half plus 1 is how that quorum works for us. And so we did have a commissioner resign, as you guys know, Carl, which we were sad to hear, but we definitely understand. We do have 2 applicants that are have applied, and so we have sent the request to the mayor to make a decision on that choice of that candidate, so that they could join us hopefully at the next meeting. So yeah, we're excited about that. We are always accepting applications, so if you have anyone of interest, and that we would love to hear from them, and if in a it was all of a sudden that we found out about Carl, so it's fortunate that we had a couple of applications. So if you know anybody, please have them contact us. We'll get that to them. Let's see. Are there any questions on going forward with our new? No?
No, we're appreciative of your foresight to ensure that
Sure.
we can continue to make quorum, and we're respecting everyone's time here. So thank you guys for RSVPing,
Yeah.
making sure that we start
Yeah.
doing that as well, to respect each other's time and also all of your time.
Yeah, and the public too, and that they can participate in this and too, so that we sometimes have had people show up and we don't have the quorum, and we get to talk to them, but they don't get to actually come and make their statement or their have their 3 minutes. So let's see.
So new
I
business.
think that's all I have. Yeah.
All right. So new business is change to OSPR meeting frequency. So Jeff, will you be handling that?
I'll take that
us?
for Donna.
Okay.
So we, in this process, started to talk about what are the requirements for our meetings, what's feasible, reasonable, and considering everyone's time, including the public. And so we have discussed there's options for us. We could meet as little as quarterly. We could do every other month. We could continue on the same path we're on right now, a meeting every month. We can make decisions at meetings to cancel the next meeting. Like if we know ahead of time there's projects going on or that you guys are, on vacations or world traveling, things like that, we can make those considerations prior to, so that everyone has expectations. But wanted to throw this out there for your discussion and consideration. If we want to put this onto the agenda again to talk more specifics, we'd be happy to entertain that. So if you have any questions or comments about that, or you'd like to make a motion to have this come back on the next agenda under old business.
Any comments or questions for the staff?
I have a comment. I personally would prefer that we continue to meet once a month, but that we have the option to decide at each meeting. Oh, I thought it was on. Oh, okay. If we met every month, but at each meeting, we would decide if the next meeting was going to be the following month or if we were going to skip a month. I just think that then if there's a lot of things going on, we would, because I know that McKay, the McKay Advisory Group, we meet quarterly, and I don't feel that it's enough to feel engaged in what's going on. So that would be my opinion.
I guess I would kind of second that in that, I like meeting every month and just hearing what's going on. With that being said, I like what Carol said about we could decide, because summertime's coming and we're vacation stuff. I know I won't be able to be here in June for the meeting then.
We've got
So-
two. We just lost
So-
two, so.
We can make that decision. We can basically, if you guys want to advise us to bring this back, that's what we'd
Yeah.
be recommending, so that we can further discuss this. You guys can think about your other commitments. Like I said, if it's like we're in November in the holiday season and we're seeing December is looking really tough for all of us, then that'd be up to you, up to the commission.
So, Jeff, you guys don't have recommendations for us, just to put it on for our future meeting so we can discuss our schedule on
I
commitment.
just wanted to bring up the fact and kind of that we can do this. We have flexibility, and if you guys, I think it's a good idea that we should continue to discuss that. Either way that goes, it's not really staff's decision. We can, we obviously, it seems to us sometimes like these just come up on us constantly because we're just busy. But, we too enjoy interacting with you and the public. And one thing I do think is that if we don't meet monthly or bi-monthly, people may lose interest in what's going on. Not you, but the public and their interaction with us, because I'd definitely like to see more public come to the meetings. And so, we're going to have a lot of exciting things going on for the next foreseeable couple years with park projects, and not just .yas, but Grace Martin and some trail work and things like that. And we'll be in it for a year, at least in .yas. And so there's going to be a lot of information to share. And so.
I think we're on one accord. It sounds like we're, can we add that to the agenda then for
Yeah.
next meeting in June? And we do have one other person that could be there. So there's a possibility that we could have a quorum,
Yeah.
right? So, we'll put it on the next agenda.
Yeah. We'll plan on that.
Okay.
Because we haven't made any decisions right now. We'll plan on having another meeting in June, and then we can discuss it. We'll send out the same notifications. If we can get a quorum, we'll meet. If not, it would just move on to the next agenda, July.
And Dennis and also Jack, if either of you have comments that you want to send in about our meeting frequency or even your own schedule, you could send that to me. I'd be happy to share that, me or Carol.
Good idea.
Excellent.
All right.
It also helps to know if you've got a vacation or something planned, to let your peers know so that they can say, well, shoot, I'm going to be gone the same time. That's going to drop us down too. We should let them know in case we need to look at canceling the next meeting. It's just handy for everybody.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We can add that to our schedule for agenda for next month. So reports, we have, if there's no other new business. All right. So reports, McKay Community Forest Advisory Group.
All right. Well, the McKay work is progressing. We continue to have the weekly group on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then the first month of every Saturday, we have a volunteer work day. So through the Volunteer Trail Stewards on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but primarily a lot of the Volunteer Trail Stewards show up on Tuesday. The Corton Community School high school kids show up on Wednesdays, and that program has continued to grow. We started with students from Eureka, and it moved into this year. We've had students from Fortuna as well as Eureka, and next year they're talking about bringing in Arcata students as well. So I'd say it's been a success, and it's worked out really well. Really got a good group of students right now. There's about 10 students that show up on Wednesdays. They show up for 3 hours. We're just plugging them right in as far as the trail work, whatever the project may be, and they really responded well. And so just as a side note, concurrently I teach a trails class at College of the Redwoods, and for the final I had guest speakers come in from State Park, Redwood National Park, CCC's, California Conservation Corps, and then from CR. And so I invited the Corton Community School to the final to hear along with CR students. And it was a really positive experience. It was really cool. So the students ended up talking to the reps after, just as far as potential seasonal work, things like that, thinking for their future. So anyway, it's been a real success. And, Jack had a hand in this, so I say thank you, seriously, because it's really blossomed. It's really doing well. So that will continue into next year. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of work. Eventually, there's going to be over 30 miles of roads and trails open to the public for hiking, equestrian use, and mountain biking. RCMBA, Redwood Coast Mountain Bike Association, is also involved, kind of separately from what we do, in building mountain bike specific downhill trails. But that's moving along. So yeah, and at this point, it really does rely on volunteers. The county has no money for internal staff to be a trail crew. So at this point, I'm thanking all the volunteers that do show up. So like I say, we're just moving right along. One change, Bob Vogt, who works for the county, has taken a new job. So he worked directly for Hank Seaman within the county. He just left this week. He has a new job with Humboldt Redwoods Timber Company, managing the road system down there. So there's a vacancy there at this point. But I met with Hank, and it's pretty seamless. Bob and I we have pretty extensive plans for what the priorities are and for the projects and such. So my understanding that the county is looking to backfill that position, but it might take a while. So anyway, that's going well. for Saturday, we had the partnership program. We brought in outside groups to partner with the county for these days to help generate numbers of volunteers. And for this month, on June, the 5th? Is that? I think that's the first Saturday. Don't quote me on that. It's June 1st or June 5th. I don't have a calendar in front of me. But anyway, the Redwood Empire Endurance Riders. It's a equestrian group that do these kind of long distance rides and stuff. So they're going to be the partner group for June. We've had a Boy Scout troop, Rotary Southwest, Eureka, Big Brothers Big Sisters, RCMBA so far, and so it's sort of launched it this year, and it's proven to be quite successful. So just looking forward to that continuing as well. And again, mainly it's just getting people out there. And we say we'll take anybody with any skill level. As I always like to say, there's a job for everyone out there. Some people, we have a full age range group. So if people are more, older, retired, don't want to do the heavy lifting work, we got work for them. So there's many aspects to trail work.
Dennis, what time on the 1st is that?
It'll be at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
So we meet at Redwood Fields in Cutton off of Fern Street. There's 2 storage containers where the tools are stored. And we meet there at 9 o'clock prompt, and then gives us an idea how many people will be there and how many tools to get out and such. So anyway, I encourage anyone and everyone to get out there. Anyway, Carol, do you want to add?
What I would like to add is that because of Bob Voigt's departure, our advisory group meeting was canceled, and not really sure when we're going to be meeting next, if it'll be next month or if they're going to wait until July or August. So sadly, we weren't able to get together, but I just got the update I wanted from Dennis. But Dennis, I do have a question for you. The bridge, what is the status of that bridge being built right by Redwood Acres?
Mm-hmm.
How's that going? Is that going to happen in a short while?
I wouldn't say short while.
Oh, darn.
So, yeah, the plan is, if you're familiar with that area, there's a road. As you're traveling out Harris Street towards Redwood Acres, there's a road that cuts down. It's a Green Diamond Road. Cuts off of Harris, drops down in. It's what many people consider to be the main access to the McKay Community Forest at that point. However, in the future, the plan for the quote-unquote main trailhead for the McKay Community Forest will be a little further up towards where Harris intersects with Hubbard, and then there's
Redwood Acres?
Correct, towards Redwood Acres, and adjacent on the corner across the street is the fire department there. So at that point, there will be a short trail off of Harris. We're talking like 50 feet or so. There's going to be a 35-foot span bridge there that will be capable of handling hikers and mountain bikers. It won't be to the level for equestrians. But that will be the main entrance into the McKay off of Harris Street. And so the material supplier, there's been some, I don't know what's going on. I think somebody on their end took a new job or something. I don't have all the information, but the plan was to have that bridge in by the end of this year, 2024. However, we'll just say it's to be determined.
Too bad.
But currently, you can access that road, and you only go in 30 feet, and you'll see sort of a trail that goes up the hill. There's a couple trail options there, and that's where most people are encouraged to go.
Okay.
So currently, we're working on, there's sort of a main loop trail that goes from there and goes all the way around behind Redwood Acres, all the way to the far end of it, where there's the greenhouses. I forget, it's part of the school district. But anyway, there's a full loop trail in there. So we've been plugging away on that. if you are a frequent user of McKay, you'll notice there are sections they're very muddy in there, quite frankly.
Still?
There's a couple sections that it's in the plan to have that full loop. We put crushed rock down on top of the trail, a layer about 3 to 4 inches thick. We call it rock armoring, that makes the trail a full season, all season use trail. And again, it just mainly comes down to the volunteer base being there to do the work. So the county did purchase a motorized wheelbarrow, which we've dubbed the game changer, because imagine pushing wheelbarrows by hand. It's, as Florence can attest, it's a bit of a workout. So we continue with that. I was just out there this week on the upper Redwood Acres Loop Trail, and we did put down about 200 feet of rock. So just this lower end down there, the way it drains down there, and it's just a matter of getting down there with people and volunteers. So the goal will be in this year to complete that loop. That kind of leads into the county is looking to sponsor at the high school level. There is they have mountain bike teams, and they want to hold a regional race there in the spring, is the kind of the race season. So the goal is to get that loop trail up to par so that they can hold this race. I'm not personally heavily involved in mountain biking, but it's my understanding that we're talking like 800 kids, coming in there with their families. They'd be able to park and camp at Redwood Acres potentially. So, you think about all the offshoot of bringing 800, students plus families, we're talking over 1,000 people and all the economic benefits that we all know. It would be a weekend event. So that is kind of a main push right now, is to get that trail to that level to where they could hold this race. In addition to that, out on Northridge off of Walnut, if you go past Murphy's and Babe's Pizza out, and there's a main parking lot out there, there's another loop trail that we are looking to complete this year as well. And I mean, of course, there's a lot of branch trails and roads that go off of there, but the main focus is on these 2 loops to get these in 2024, get these done and up and running, and then progressing from there. So, again, I'd love to see you all out there. No, anyway, it is moving along. But it's some good news for the McKay. It'll take a few years, but we're plugging away.
Thank you, Dennis and Carol, for your work on that and for bringing that thorough report to us today and to our public. I also, I know you shared a lot, but I've been missing the little newsletters that you guys send out, and I'm wondering if there's a way that the public can find out. Where would you send them to find out more information outside of showing up on Saturday, June 1st at 9 a.m.?
So when you say newsletter, like on the email
Distribution
blast that goes
list,
out?
yeah.
So I would say that those are put out by the Volunteer Trail Stewards.
Right.
There's a woman named Rachel Garcia who is the overall trail coordinator for Volunteer Trail Stewards. And I'm trying to think of the email, Carol. It's like VTS.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah.
Robin, I'm wondering if there's something we can do to share out more information about that.
Yeah, we can definitely get Rachel's email. Were you also asking if there's an email sign up somewhere as well?
Well, just a place. I know they can sign up so that they can get the newsletter or the email distribution, but I'm wondering if we can figure out a way to make it more public and more accessible.
Yeah.
So that people
Say
can.
this is that if for general public that's interested in wanting to participate in any of the volunteer work days, to contact Rachel at, and if we can get that email,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have it right off the top of my head, but that would be the main way. Mainly, Rachel puts that email out a week before any event, which is the first Saturday of the month. So, and then they can get their name on that email list, and then from there they'll be notified of each workday, Saturday workday.
Yeah, can we just add like Robin's email to that so she can see that and then
Absolutely.
we can use
Yeah,
that?
Robin, I'll just get your email
Yeah.
right after.
Yeah, I'd like to get the updates. That'd be great.
They're really
Okay.
beautifully done too.
Oh, good.
Rachel does a really good job.
does an
They're thorough.
excellent
There's
job.
always pictures. It's great. So we can get that into more hands. That would be excellent.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Any other comments or questions about the McKay? Okay. The next report is for Cooper Gulch, and that's Jack.
Nothing from the Common Grounds folks, but I do have a couple Cooper's Gulch questions. Having spent, Dennis was talking about the rock armoring, and as you know, on the far south end of Cooper's Gulch, in the wintertime, it gets awfully muddy there. It'd be the south end of the south baseball or softball field. And then there's also a couple of spots over on the west side of the trail. I'm wondering if that's something in one of these volunteer days, if we could do that, because it gets pretty much impassable. Like we had the 2 inches of rain here recently, and for about a week and a half afterwards, you couldn't really go through there. And the other thing was garbage can up. There's just places up at the 13th Street. It would be where 13th Street runs in. Everywhere else, it's covered, but that's that trail that pops out there. So those are the 2.1 things I would like to raise. That's all.
I have some comments on, we used to have a trash can at the 13th Street entry. It became really problematic with the neighborhood garbage showing up there, and people dumping. It's still a dumping issue at the end of, it's like the end of a street with a fence and some, and what people were actually started to do was like go beyond the fence and then kind of behind a tree that's right there. And then it was like, we would all of a sudden show up and there's some enormous pile of stuff. Yard waste was being put there, all kinds of stuff. But
that makes sense. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yep.
I mean, I totally understand the garbage cans in some of the locations, like especially in Cooper Gulch and obviously in Sequoia Park and our large acreages. It's really difficult to monitor. It's really difficult to get in there, and then you have to pack it out. So we have done things like change the styles of trash cans. As you've seen around town, we have some new trash cans that only take a limited amount of garbage. So that really helps with the unauthorized illegal dumping. And so that's kind of a strategy that we've employed. And definitely the trail improvements is part of our master plan for the park. And it's an additional several, maybe I don't want to be quoted, but it's significant amount of trails that go through there, as well as a connectivity through to 14th Street. So they are doing a culvert replacement project coming up soon. So some attention will be there, and then they'll hopefully have a little bit better drainage, but it's very swampy in certain areas back there. But yeah, and then having real established marked trails is going to really help to try to keep people from trekking through some of the marshy areas. But it is a riparian, so it kind of all goes hand in hand. But yeah, definitely we're aware of that.
It is a gulch, as the name suggests.
It's a watershed.
Yeah. It's not Cooper Dunes. We get that. Yeah.
The watershed. We definitely want to highlight the natural effects of that. And then when we were theming parks, especially like at Dayas Park, we really looked at all the watersheds coming through town and how the gulches and gullies play into that. Mm-hmm. And so by educating people on, where is your watershed coming from? We can show them right there.
I would also add Council Member Scott Bauer has been working on a few projects this year with the CCCs. I think they've removed quite a few tons of invasive species from 14th Street, and then also one of the other neighborhood trails. They did some clearing just 2 weeks ago. So if there's another CCC workday planned, we could discuss any other opportunities, but we would want to be sure to coordinate with that first slough project that I think the contract was just awarded last month, and they'll be starting work. So they'll be working on the creek all the way through to 14th Street, I believe.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, so an extension
They're going to be rehabbing the creek and creating some offshoots.
Oh, wow.
So it's basically a creek restoration project is the way I understand it.
From essentially the skate park all the way up to 14th. Wow. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a multi-million-dollar project. Yeah, so
When does
we've
that
just
kick off, Robin? Give or
Say that
take?
again?
When is that kind of do we think it's going to kick off when?
very soon. They awarded their bid around the same time we awarded our bid for .yas. They're on similar timelines. Yeah.
And I just wanted to comment too that we have this standing Cooper Gulch Common Ground thing, and I apologize that we haven't had a lot of communication with them.
Jeff, I've reached out. It hasn't been recently, but I've reached out half dozen times
Yeah,
and
I
never
know.
heard anything back.
I
So
know.
don't beat yourself up. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
no.
Yeah.
But we could not to have to like call it Cooper Gulch Common Grounds anymore. We could take this off and put it back on later. However you feel about it, just let us know. We're always happy to talk about Cooper Gulch, and we're always out there looking for.
And there's so much new news.
Improvements,
So
yeah.
maybe would this be something that we could move to one of your reports as
We could, or we could just call it Cooper
General
Gulch.
Parks,
We
just
could
a
call
general
it.
parks update. I think if you
General
guys,
parks
like you normally give us,
updates.
that's fine by me. Yeah.
You guys can always ask us specific questions. You can email us if you want to find out. Hopefully that day.
We could
we're here.
also see if maybe in the coming months, if the project manager of the First Slough project would like to come update you all on it. We're not super well versed in it. We just know a little bit, so it would be beneficial for us as well.
Yes.
That'd be an
Robin,
excellent
who is
presentation.
that through then? I'm assuming it's not
It's
Parks-
Public Works is
Public
managing
Works.
it.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah, they got the funding for the design and then got the funding for the construction. So yeah, they just awarded that contract.
All right. Well, thank you, Jack. Any other comments or questions? All right. Our next report is for Sequoia Park Zoo Foundation, and I am the liaison for that, commissioner liaison for the zoo. And I did get an update on the dissolution of the Sequoia Park Zoo Foundation from Alegria. And Alegria shared that the Sequoia Park Zoo Foundation is diligently working on winding down the foundation since April. And she's been directing the following steps. One, that a $300,000 loan for the Watershed Heroes project, it was paid in full. So that was a huge accomplishment and to fulfill this obligation. And there is a press release that can be found on the zoo's website that outlines all of the details about that loan and some other achievements that were made by the foundation. The foundation is also working towards the transfer of the Barron Silver Spot Butterfly Project, which has several active grants to allow for butterfly release. And this is, they are released in designated locations in the wild and on zoo grounds. And the contracts will be closed out and transferred to other nonprofits, 501c3s, by the end of the month. And the foundation is also working on the transfer of remaining restricted funds to another 501c3 to administer earmark funds for the project, like the Red Panda Habitat update and Everyone Zoos project, as well as the Director's Conservation Fund. And lastly, Sequoia Park Zoo Foundation is working on the physical move out from the foundation office that is located on the zoo grounds, and they have a goal of completing that by June 30th. And that's all I have. But I know, Robin, you guys might have more updates on the zoo, maybe? Anything new?
Not specifically on the Zoo Foundation. I wouldn't be able to speak for them. Only that what we know from the press release and that they chose to dissolve. We are actively and talking with folks right now about a new philanthropic arm of the zoo. So that we can continue. It's definitely a necessity to have, and so we're looking at some options right now, and really hope to make a transition, smoothly and we appreciate the foundation for the last 20 plus years that have put on wonderful events. And I know we just put on a Party for the Planet event and reminded us of how much energy it goes into those events and fundraising. And so, it's.
And they had 13 events on a calendar year. So all fundraising events, bringing it and opening up the park to the community and providing free opportunities. So it's such a wonderful organization, such a great effort over the last 2 decades. So we definitely want to keep abreast of things as they mature and they change here. So please do.
Definitely.
I guess I'll be sending you an email maybe after June 30th.
Yeah, we hope to have some more updates.
Okay.
Right now, we're just, like I said, we're in conversations with some options and that are local. So,
All right. Any other comments or questions regarding Zoo? All right. So the Sequoia Park ad hoc committee, Robin.
No major updates at this time, still in a holding pattern. And the foundation was a player in that fundraising. So I think that does kind of make us have to relook at things just a bit more. So park improvements are coming. Fundraising is coming. But yeah, no other updates. I'm sorry.
Well, we appreciate you, Robin. Thank you for all you do. We have a recreation revenue summary for March and April. Are there any questions or comments from the commission on the recreation revenue report?
I just noticed you've already met your goal for the year and far exceeded it and continue to, and that's wonderful. And what does that mean? I'm assuming
really
I'm
good.
assuming you're not getting. That's good. We like.
it's very good that we're in.
What's that mean?
Finishing April and we're over 130% of our goal. Our goals are. We try to be realistic. We are not a huge revenue generating fund, but this really helps to offset things. It helps in the finance world with the city in general, and it means that more people are participating in our programs and opportunities. And so that to me that's what I look at. It also probably pleases our finance director.
Well, and a special shout out to our newer recreation supervisor, Jim Thomas. It's been about a year, I think, now.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a direct reflection of new leadership and enthusiasm.
Yeah, you'll see community classes, other events. We crawled out of the COVID times, and as you can see, now these only go back to the April 22, but when we were looking at comparisons back into 2020, and coming out of that, we were, so yeah, I'm very happy with our revenues, and we're going to continue to seek those revenue sources, and through grant funding, we've got some great grants out there right now for some outdoor equity, and so we're just sitting on our hands waiting for those letters to come back. So hopefully we'll have some great news, and definitely want to bring Jim Thomas back in for to discuss those. They've really Jim Thomas and Catherine Cunningham have really worked hard over the last few months to get a lot of these grants turned in. The timelines sometimes are strict, and we're crawling outside of our box, like I said, but also like looking at programming that we've never done. For example, taking kids overnight places and camping, skiing, surfing, getting into the community and making it equitable for everybody to participate. So we're excited about those opportunities coming.
All right. Any other comments? This would be a time we could open it up to the public, but it looks like we're still no new participants on Zoom.
Real quick, I was just wondering, a lot of things on the April here, or like 4 things or so, are that the funds were received just earlier in the year. Like with that into account, is it like how, I don't know, how does it stack up with that?
So when we're accounting, we try to put these little notes in there just to kind of give you an idea. When we're accounting, we may receive more registration and March than we do in April for a certain program. We also get a lot of subsidized programming through like Humboldt sponsors, etc. Sometimes that check comes 3 weeks later. So it's really the accounting of the funds. So looking at the big picture is good. Comparing it to what we did last year, community classes and rentals and things like that, I think are a little more relative. But some of the programming that we do, we receive the funds in different amounts at different times. That's basically it.
All right. Any other questions? All right. So we have staff reports.
Do we approve the?
Oh. Well, can I have a motion to accept the revenue reports? Thank you, Jeff.
I'll make a motion to accept the revenue reports for March and April.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. So, was that? So everyone vote? Any?
Aye.
All in favor?
Approved. All in favor.
All right. Any opposed? All right. The motion passes. Revenue reports have been approved. All right. Staffing reports.
Robin, would you like to go first?
I'd be happy to go first. So speaking about rec programming and grant funding, I'm not sure that you all got the update that we were awarded a camp grant from California State Parks. It previously exclusively funded Camp Cooper for the last 4 years, and we reapplied and actually sought funding for Camp Cooper and Camp Sequoia so that participants can choose which camp they want to go to if they qualify. So camp registration is open, and there are opportunities to provide a 50% or 100% coverage depending on eligibility at either camp. So very exciting to get that grant again. It's a recurring grant for us, so we must be doing pretty good. And then going back to the Highland Park update. So Highland Park, as Jack mentioned, is over there by Fort Humboldt. And we did receive quite a few different funding sources to do some improvements there. That does include a new restroom, which is being built as we speak. I drove by today. And then the tennis courts have been completely demoed and they're being resurfaced, new fencing, and it's going to be for pickleball and tennis. They'll have both lines painted on there. And then there'll be walkway improvements throughout the park. And then we also had a little bit of funding to buy some new playground equipment. So it won't be a huge overhaul, but you will see some new playground pieces in that playground as well. And then I believe they're also doing some new fencing around the baseball field is what I noticed. So I would expect that to be done in the next few months. They're chipping away at it. Any questions on Highland before I move on? Great. We did have a successful compost giveaway on April 13th out at Recology. We gave away 22 tons of compost to the community. So not only is that great for our residential gardeners, but the state actually has a mandate that we have to procure a certain amount of compost per year. So that was a drop in the bucket of what they expect, but we're inching along. And then we have our trash bash coming up on June 1st. I'm sorry that it competes, Dennis, with the trail day. But at 9 a.m., we'll be out at the foot of Del Norte Street working for 90 minutes with Pack Out Green Team. And we get bagels by Los Bagels. So definitely love to see you all out there. And then just wanted to highlight our Wabash volunteer group. I don't know how often any of you traverse on Wabash, but for 3 years now, our group has been working on it, and the flowers are out of control right now. They're in full bloom and so colorful and huge, and you can tell a lot of investment has gone on over 3 years to get the landscaping to where it is now. So we'll actually be out there again on June 22nd at 10 a.m. We meet at Express Employment, and we'll be doing some weeding and watering the plants and just checking things out. So folks can organize activities like that in their own neighborhoods, and we'll support them. So just a little plug to become a volunteer coordinator, anybody who's watching. And I think that concludes my report.
I'd like to mention that Robin spearheaded that and put in lots of hours herself and took pride in her neighborhood and made that happen. So thank you.
Hey, Robin, where exactly on Wabash? Where is that?
From Pine up to C Street. So yeah, like Stop and Shop is B Street right there, and then Pine is the bottom of the hill. So there's some really large tree bulb outs all along Wabash.
All about it. And that's
Yeah.
copy that.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. We have Memorial Day weekend coming. So we have a few things going on. One being the kinetic sculpture race will be in town. So we're preparing Halverson Park and the launch areas for the water portion. It's a big party down there on Saturday afternoon and evening. And as the racers get ready for Sunday's launch into the water is always exciting. So staff's been working really hard and keeping the area cleaned up and ready for lots of people. And yeah, we're always excited and happy to have the Kinetic Universe in our town for the day or the 2 days. Also, the Myrtle Grove Memorial Cemetery will be doing their Memorial Day celebration. They'll begin, I think they're going to start putting out flags tomorrow. We have had commenters come from the volunteer group there, and I've encouraged them to keep coming and talk to us about what's going on. A couple of them suggested that we have a meeting out there. There's some logistical problems with that, of having the actual OSPR meeting there. We have done meetings outside of this room or outside of a room out in the open before. There's just some logistics to go with that, so we can think about that in the future. But I would encourage you to stop by there. They're always on Wednesdays in the morning between 10 and 2:30. If you just show up and tell them who you are, they would love to just know you showed up and saw them doing it. They're incredible people that have carried on for quite some time now. Been 6 or 7 years, and we definitely will recognize them in our volunteer program appreciation up in coming this year. We have, I think, what is it, September? So we'll be having them come and talk and to counsel and stuff too. So, but if you have any questions or interested in working with them, let me know. I can get you in touch, or you can just show up out there on Wednesdays, or if you see somebody out there on a lawnmower or something, they're very friendly and like to talk, and they not just do the physical maintenance work, they do a lot of the genealogy and recording and helping us with record keeping and documentation, updating websites, things like that. So they're also really helpful on the informative side, and we get a lot of people that come to town and want to know where their relatives locations are, and so we get to interact with them and let them know. They're always very appreciative that someone's there, and so so come on out or drive by and check it out. They always make it look really beautiful for the Veterans holidays. The Forest Moon Festival is coming June 1st. So that's in the afternoon. So you have plenty of time to volunteer and work up an appetite to come to. We have 2 events going on. They are both free. The park is open admission park, or open free space park. We have some cool things going on. We always have to watch our terminology with Star movies because we don't want to. We don't want. Now, last year, George Lucas showed up. So if you've seen the video that we showed at council, we had someone dress up like George Lucas. It was hilarious. But there'll be inflatable saber stations. There's, it's all ages and it's free. Rebel training obstacle course, Color the Galaxy station, Wise Green Creature temporary tattoos. Saber showdown game, humbubbles, and a costume contest at 2. We had so many great costumes the last couple of years, so it's worth checking out. And then there is an event at the zoo. It is a ticketed event, but it is free because we're not allowed to charge using the Star Movies stuff. Yeah.
Sorry, but I've heard of this, but what exactly? I mean, I'm picking up on what this is, the Forest Moon day or night or whatever.
Star Wars was filmed in Star Wars.
So it's celebrating that?
Yeah. So it's called the Forest Moon Festival, which is, the Forest Moon is where the Ewoks lived, and a lot of it was filmed in Humboldt and Del Norte County. So the Film Commission several years ago started to have a festival. It was typically on May 1st, or Yeah,
May 4th.
May the 4th. Sorry,
May
May
the
the 4th be with you.
Be with you.
And then we last year decided to move it to June because that was actually when the movie was released, and I think it's the 40th. It's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi movie. Yeah, I know it makes me feel old. And but it's super fun. The costumer cosplay aspect of it is really cool, and then seeing people in the costumes on the skywalk and stuff in the evening was really fun last year. So we'll
think-
try to capture some of those photos again.
Yeah, I think they're also doing a movie in the park
Yes.
that night at the park. So they'll be showing one of the movies. I'm not sure which one. So last year there was really good attendance. You bring your blanket and your chair, and yeah, when the sun sets.
Out on the main lawn and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet.
So the film
cool.
commission helps with that and shows the movie.
8:45 that movie will play at the park. So it's cool that we can have, we have some limitations with the zoo and what's the word I'm looking for? The amount of people we can let in, capacities. And so we did have to ticket the event. But to have all the excitement too right next door at the park is always fun. So come on out. Speaking of Sequoia Park, we have been doing a bunch of work late last year and this spring on repairing the roads to the duck pond. It got to be pretty treacherous to where there was one or two turns there that you make a little mistake and you're gonna be in trouble. So we had those repairs done. We also had a culvert sinkhole issue down at the parking lot area down there, and so we had that all repaired, and so we are getting we're hoping to have the road open beginning in June, and then another stocking event. We're talking like 200. They're rainbow trout. They're from our local hatchery, and do another event in July for Get Out and Play Day. And then we want to do a standalone event in September that is for youth probably under 12 or something like that. And have a, accessible area there with some of the, maybe some reps from Fish and Wildlife will definitely be there and talk to kids and show them techniques and things like that, as well as some product demos and things like that, and have extra equipment for people that don't have it, so they can come down and learn to fish and learn about it and see if they like it. So it went pretty well last year. It was a little more under the radar. We were a little bit concerned about some of the activities that could potentially happen, and it went pretty well. And word got out, and there was lots of kids there for weeks. And then we expect it to be fished out. You are allowed to take the fish home. We have some rules that'll be posted. I think it's 5 fish per person. And then normal fishing regulations would apply. So like if you're 16 or older, you need to have a license. But we want to get more people exposed to, fishing. And I remember as a kid fishing in the trout farms in Mount Baldy as a kid, and I loved it. And being able, kind of guaranteed you're going to catch something if you hung out long enough. So,
You're looking at like having like a fishing derby on a particular day.
Yeah.
Or can they fish throughout the total fish it all?
So the first stocking, they can fish it out. It could be fished out in a week. It's probably more like 2 or 3 weeks. If it's 200 fish, it just depends on how many people are down there. You could come every day and take 5 fish. We have some rules that'll be set up down there. There's no fish cleaning stations or anything like that. And then working on like managing some debris waste, like fishing line. We have some recycling units for fishing line and lures and things like that. And then just getting, people educated on etiquette and safety and the fun aspects of fishing.
And like obviously on the day, it'll be sort of a monitored event. And then after that, will there be somebody monitoring that kind of stuff that you just described, or it's just sort of open?
So for the standalone event, we'll stock it and then have that day go, we'll have it probably the next day or that day, and it'll be monitored. We don't have staff to just but the game wardens do visit the location. That people do need to follow laws and rules, and so there's a way for us to educate people through some signage and just interaction with folks. We had some great stories from Grandpa and his grandson going down there and saw the fish jumping and then ran home and got their fishing poles and came back. And so those are the stories we want to hear. And we really had limited problems. So I was definitely had some concerns. It had been done in the past. Back in the 90s was the last time. So it had been 25, 30 years since that had happened. And obviously a lot more prior to that, there was regularly fishing going on down there. It is a creek. It does flow through there, the pond. Some people think, oh, it's gross. It's a pond that's stagnant. It's not. There's a creek flowing through that. It's healthy and fresh. And we had dredged it out about 5 years ago. And so when it's cleaned out, in the center, probably 6.5, 7 feet. Yeah. Yeah. We did find some like invasive species and stuff when we drained it. So that was important that we did that. And so it also, having Department of Fish and Wildlife there to see that stuff and to keep an eye on the ducks. We still have a problem with people dropping off animals there. So we're working on keeping the domestic ducks out because they do harm the wood ducks that should be there. We do have some boxes for them to roost in, and so make some efforts to keep those ones in there. And some people don't get it that it's not a fenced-in park. Things come and go. Raccoons come and go. Ducks come and go. Critters, bears. We've seen bears in there in the park in that area. Deer and other stuff. So keep your eyes open.
Jeff, one quick clarification. The zoo event, Forest Moon, that one is 21 plus, just FYI.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
So cocktails in your
right.
in your costumes.
Are there any other comments or questions? I did want to thank you all and your team for Halverson Park updates. I saw we were out for the Kite Festival last weekend, and I was out with my family, and it was just so nice. I mean, the work that has been done just to keep it updated and mowed and everything. And I saw that actively happening too that morning. So I can tell you guys are putting a lot of work in to make that happen. So thank your team for us.
I will. Thank you.
And also, I was wondering if there's anything planned officially for Juneteenth this year, since we won't have, it's a national holiday, and we won't have a meeting before then.
I've seen around that there is an event planned. I've seen some banners. I think Black Humboldt was putting it on, but I don't know if the city's directly involved. Maybe we did a fee waiver at council for it?
We did a fee waiver for the Adorni Center, so it'll be a little bit bigger of an event. So the city's kind of collaborating with Black Humboldt on that. And then I heard that there's kind of going to be some activities the Friday night before in Old Town with some festivities and stuff like that. But nothing that city's doing on our own. Definitely working with Black Humboldt.
All right, so June 19th through the 22nd, I know it's that Sunday that they'll be at Halverson Park, right? Mm-hmm. So, and they're supposed to have some really great bands, like Object Heavy, if I can say, so there's, and everything's free at Juneteenth that Black Humboldt is putting together. However, there's going to be suggested donations so that they can continue to offer this to our city. And I'd like to see more partnership too, and see how we can partner. It's great to have a fee waiver, but we set aside resources for a lot of different holidays, so it'd be great to meet them with some of those resources as well. That's all my comments and questions for today, for about the reports. Anything else from anyone else?
Just a couple quick questions. So, speaking of all these kind of summer events, when's like Friday night market and Thursday concert series? When's that kind of start ramping up?
So the Friday night markets will start, I believe, next
May
Friday.
31st.
Yeah. So not this Friday, but next Friday.
31st.
Yeah.
Let's go every Friday
Until October or end of September.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the summer concert series will start end of June. So third week of June after school gets out. And then we'll be every Thursday night.
Yeah.
And there won't be one on 4th of July, which happens to fall on Thursday. But we will have a fireworks show and fun downtown.
So many people look forward to that summer concert series. So
It's pretty
it's a lot of great work.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great collaboration.
Cross your fingers for sunshine.
Two more questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was just curious on update on Carson Park. So there's that unfortunate vandalism.
Yeah.
I was just curious where that's at.
It'd been kind of good, and unfortunately, earlier this week we had a little incident. But it's not going to stop us. It's a few kids, we think, and we're getting information about who that people think is doing it. A neighbor did catch some video footage. It has been given to the police. It has slowed down significantly, but we had the lot cop out there for a while, which is a camera system. I hate to have those at our parks, but we may be bringing them back. And we've also did some work on the siding. We replaced the front of the shiplap siding on the front of the restroom. And we're kind of in a stall with the historic lodge because College of the Redwoods crew they're off now for summer. So, but we'll be picking back up again in the fall, and we're gonna keep going on that. We've talked about before, continue to try to work with private funders to get some other amenities there. But thankfully, both the Rotary groups in town have been extraordinary in continuing to make efforts to get amenities there, especially the restroom, being the latest thing.
Yeah.
Hydration stations, trash cans, fencing repairs. We are going to be doing, we have a few pieces of equipment that we're going to pull out or change out and add there. So they're not big, huge pieces, but they'll catch your eye. They're colorful. The kids like them, and kind of as a placeholder until we can do a full playground remodel there.
And then that will dovetail with, because there's pickleball and dog run supposed to go into that park?
Yeah, and that was through that's kind of our master plan, and it's really hinging upon funding sources.
Probably that.
Yeah, those Carson Park has not been a really viable grant funding through these Prop 68 grants due to incomes and park densities.
Cool. Thank you. That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Are there any other questions or comments? All right. Well, our next regular meeting is scheduled for June 27th at 6 p.m. I hope that the public and also as many of us can join in. And if there's nothing else, meeting is adjourned.